when you go through and try to reverse the protections in place for women's restroom and women's rights, you are a dictator. And I don't know how women all over the country are not pulling their hair out and feeling shamed if they voted for Joe Biden when he is thwarting the very rights of women, not all their rights, but a significant right for women to have progress and have, fairness. I'm all for people being who they want to be in the United States of America. If you a man and you want to say you're a girl, you want to say you're a man, I don't care. Nobody should care. But when your thoughts and your actions contradicts another person's constitutional rights, that's when we have a problem. Women in America should be able to be protected and be able to have fair competition. That's why they have women's sports, because male and female are not the same. I don't care how many genders they tell you are. There's a male gender, female gender, and male and female are not the same physically. So they have a female sports and they have male sports. But when you start to allow men who would like to be women play in women's sports, you have a big problem. Women have been fighting for equality for a very long time, and now it's going in full circle, and men are now retaking. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't need to be superfluous. Of course, it's not overwhelming. The overwhelming majority of women's experiences in sports are trans people coming into female sports and dominating. It occurs, but the problem in the zeal that I have to speak against some of these things is the future of what this looks like. Because there are some people who would rather identify as a woman to compete at a high level in women's sports, although they are not as committed about actually being a woman. They can take advantage of a situation because it's presented to them. Meaning that a woman who is not really good in sports, a man who's not really good in sports but turn into a woman, can now get into sports and dominate. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he take the fame and fortune? Why wouldn't he not break records? I mean, they are literally allowing men who believe that they're women to break women records. I never forget this. I forget what year it was, but I was racing. I wasn't really racing. I was riding for fun in the Tour de Tucson, which is a 106-mile race. They break up the categories. You know, there's professional riders and there's people like myself who wanted to ride 106 miles and enjoy the ride and do a little competition here and there, but I ain't nowhere in the world I'm winning at the front. Way too heavy to be winning a Tour de Tucson. But they had two categories, right? And then they had some other feeder categories, meaning that they separated people by age and you can be ranked. But they had the male top finisher and the female top finisher. Explain to me why they allowed a man who is claiming to be a woman. The Joker got his package hanging out everywhere, riding in spandex, and all he did was paint his fingernails and grew his hair out. And he ended up winning first place by like a millisecond to a biological woman. And he celebrated as the winner of the race for women and got like 47th place out of the men. And this is what makes me mad, because this particular individual competed professionally as a man before he decided to be a woman. That is unfair competition. And I don't care what anybody say. When you take hormones, you lose muscle density and you lose strength. But bruh, you started out at a way higher point. You don't lose as much muscle density and you don't lose lung capacity. Male bodies have more lung capacity than women. You don't lose physical structure. You know what I'm saying? You're not losing. You're not going your whole life competing as a biological man with all of that muscle density built up over time, and then all of a sudden you take some hormones, you get weaker. Well, you getting weaker is still stronger than most women. I think this is my opinion about it. And I'm still on the subject. This is my opinion about it. Have a trans category. You have male, hear me out. You have male, you have female, and then you can have a trans whatever category with trans, pan, whatever, two spirits, plus QQ plus. You can have a category for all the people that don't know how they want to identify outside of the biological reality, and you let them have a category. And then let's see how many of those people exist. And are there enough of them to compete? And the answer to, I can tell you very clearly, is no. Nobody will watch it, and there's not enough people to compete. But they need to isolate people like that in a particular category. Therefore, there's no ambiguity whether or not you have enough testosterone or not, whether you were a man long enough or not, whether you know what I'm saying? Because technically, you're taking drugs. You're taking performance-enhancing drugs. If you are a female and you're going to try to be a man, you are taking testosterone. That is a performance-enhancing drug. If you are a biological woman, you cannot take testosterone. So how is it fair that a man turns into a woman, takes testosterone? I mean, a woman turns into a man, takes testosterone, but a biological woman in the same sport cannot take testosterone. You can't take any of it. I don't care if it affects you at all. You can't take any testosterone because you'll get a competitive advantage. You can't have any of it in your system because you may have taken a whole bunch of it. It's just a little bit left in your system during testing time. They can't manage that, so you can't take the drug. You can't put that in your body. How is that fair? How did that make sense? And my final conclusive thought of this is that this is why you never go 100% woke.